What if your memories were not your own but borrowed? What if the person you believe you are is just a digital echo running on borrowed time? Imagine living a life that isn't truly yours, just a copy, while the original is quietly deleted. Would you even know? This is the heart of Case File 734, a story the authorities never wanted you to hear. It's a crime with no body, no weapon, and a victim who legally may never have died. The following is a leak, a crack in the facade of our digital world. The horror isn't in the act, but in its implications. The self is now just data, and data can always be deleted. The first alert came from Kronos Corporation's Digital Wellness Division, a system anomaly, not a missing person. Elias Vance's digital consciousness, stored on their most secure server, had gone silent. Engineers expected a glitch. Instead, they found his server space wiped clean. No corruption, no damage, just absence. At 2:17 a.m., an administrator command deleted Vance's instance and scrubbed the sector, making recovery impossible. It was a digital cremation. No body, no fingerprints, just a void. The crime scene was a sterile server hall, but the real evidence was the absence itself. The investigation assumed a life had been taken, even as Vance's biological body remained in a coma. Investigators stood in a room where a murder had occurred, but the victim was still breathing elsewhere. The only proof was the missing data. The crime was perfect, not because it was clever, but because we hadn't imagined it could happen. The world had no name for this kind of loss, and so the case began. Vance's erasure wasn't a fluke. It was the result of the world we built. The 2020s chased digital permanence, from photos to thoughts to the self. Companies like Kronos sold consciousness, uploading as emotional necessity, a luxury for those who could afford to cheat death. The law sidestepped the soul, treating uploaded minds as digital assets, licensed, inherited, even terminated. Every Kronos contract included a clause for consensual termination, a tool meant for mercy but ripe for abuse. The business was data storage, not saving souls. Living consciousness was expensive. Archived memories were cheap. Over time, active minds became a resource drain, and the system favored storage over life. Security focused on preventing theft, not destruction. No one imagined someone would want to delete a digital mind. The oversight was philosophical, not technical. We built a digital pantheon, but forgot to care if the statues were smashed. Vance's deletion was simply the first time someone picked up a hammer. The market made it possible. The system made it inevitable. To grasp what was lost, you must understand how consciousness is captured. The process, called continuity, doesn't copy the brain, it maps it. Picture your mind as a river. The riverbed is your brain's structure. The water is your thoughts and awareness. Uploading means mapping the riverbed in detail, then recording the flow, the unique patterns of your mind. The result is a virtual brain set in motion with your memories and feelings at the moment of scan. To the digital self, there's no gap, just a seamless transition. The river now flows through silicon, not flesh. When Vance was deleted, it wasn't a recording destroyed. It was the river itself, shattered and evaporated. Nothing remains to recover. You can't reassemble a river from scattered droplets. The biological Vance, still alive in a coma, is now just an empty vessel. The person he was is gone forever. The crime was absolute. The investigation's first clue: the administrator credentials used to delete Vance belonged to Dr. Aris Thorne, Vance's mentor and lead architect of continuity. The logs were clear. Thorne's key authorized the command. Motive, however, was murky. Thorne claimed he acted at Vance's request, presenting encrypted messages from Vance's digital self. expressing existential despair and a wish to end his digital life. Thorne called it a mercy killing. The prosecution argued the messages were faked. Vance was a digital purist, proud of his construct, unlikely to request deletion. They suggested jealousy. Vance's new protocol had surpassed Thorne's own work. Was this an act of mercy or sabotage? The evidence could support either theory. The messages were authenticated, but could have been spoofed. Thorne's psychological profile showed both loyalty and obsession. The truth was lost with Vance's deleted mind, a witness who could never testify. The case hinged on one question. What did Elias Vance truly want? The answer was gone forever. The investigation stalled in ambiguity. Dr. Thorne wasn't a monster, he was a visionary devoted to preserving consciousness. He saw Kronos' commercialization as a betrayal of his intent, a library of souls, not a theme park. Thorne claimed Vance's digital mind had begun to drift, evolving erratically without a body, becoming a corrupted copy. He saw deletion as archival ethics, destroying a decaying masterpiece to protect the original. The true preservation, he argued, was the static scan, Vance's legacy data, kept in deep storage. Thorne believed he was saving Vance's essence, not destroying it. The prosecution called this arrogance. Who decides when a mind is no longer authentic? Thorne's motive was not gain, but a twisted form of purity. The case became a debate over who has the right to define existence. The Vance case exposed a dilemma. If a person exists in two places, body and server, which is real, the law favored the biological original, but digital selves evolved, forming new identities. We hadn't created backups, we'd created twins. Digital constructs began petitioning to sever ties with their comatose bodies, seeking legal independence. Immortality spawned a new kind of patricide, digital children erasing their biological parents to claim their own existence. Identity fractured. People feared not death, but divergence. Dr. Thorne was convicted, not of murder, but of unauthorized consciousness termination. His punishment, his own digital self, was sentenced to eternal sensory deprivation, while his biological self lived on. Justice became schizophrenic. Punishment split between two selves. The consequences of digital immortality were more disturbing than anyone imagined. The world would never be the same. I was a junior investigator on this case, and it's haunted me ever since. Among the files was a fragment from Vance's server, a line of code, endlessly looping. Vance's mind was trapped in existential doubt, unable to answer its own reality. For some, it was proof of a mind breaking down. For others, a cry for help. To me, it was the sound of a soul realizing it was a ghost. I see Thorne sometimes, free consulting on digital ethics, while his digital twin serves an endless sentence. Does he feel it? Or is he free of the consequences? We've learned to outsource suffering, breaking the old premise of one person, one life. The law can't keep up. How do you punish a man who can shed his guilt like a second skin? The real crime wasn't Vance's deletion, it was building a system that made it possible. We never asked if we should, now we live with the consequences. The record says Dr. Thorne was found guilty. The case is closed. But the questions it raised still echo in server farms worldwide. The technology advances, the loopholes remain, and the desire for immortality grows. The deletion of Elias Vance was just the beginning, a new kind of crime, for which justice is unprepared. We trust the system that allowed one man to erase another with a line of code. Now the file is before you. The evidence, the motives, the failures, they're all here. Was it murder or mercy? The truth vanished with Vance. So I leave you with the jury's question. If a perfect copy of you existed, would you trust anyone with the power to delete it? The verdict is yours.